joining me, the Old Groppy Prosperity Team, and the Prosperous Divas for this special presentation of Grow Your Mind and Money. We are interviewing Sherontelle Dirskell, celebrity publicist, motivational speaker, and author of Live Beyond Fear, a book that will leave you moved, touched, and transformed. Sherontelle has experienced the other side of the mountain, the valley, and the mountaintop, and has used those challenges to empower herself and others to stay the course and take the actions to fulfill her dreams and theirs. Sherontelle's willingness to share her heart, not just her knowledge, to make a difference has her be a champion for humanity. Now, before we continue, it's time to see what Prosperous Thought Mr. Ronnie has for us today.
Thank you, and I'm just excited. I am so excited to have Sherontelle here on Grow Your Mind and Money. She's just awesome. But let me get together with this prospering thought. Transform disappointment. Feel the disappointment. Then gather all the energy in that feeling and put it to good use. You'll soon leave the disappointment far behind as you move forward to do great things. When you feel disappointment, it means you know things could have been and can be better. Take hold of that vision and work on bringing it fully to life. No disappointment is ever permanent. Take what is positive, informative, and motivating in each disappointment and leave the rest behind. Look for opportunities to channel disappointment into positive action. Though you can't do anything about what has already happened, you can choose what you do with it. Disappointment enables you to experience firsthand what you don't want. Use that experience to develop new clarity about what you do want. Life will sometimes disappoint you. Embrace each disappointment and transform it into inspiration. Now, what I'm present to about myself and growing my mind when it comes to the theme transform disappointment is that I would rather have disappointment from putting my heart, my time, my energy, my effort, my everything than to live with regret for not having even tried and always wonder what might have or what could have been. So I'll take the disappointment because I know what I did. I know I put my butt on the line. And I may not like the result, but at least I can be proud of who I was being. Now, it is time for our special interview with Sherontelle Dirskell. And Sherontelle, if I got your name wrong, please forgive me and you can correct it. But Diva Nikki, take it away.
Awesome. Yes, thank you. Well, it is in this part of the interview we learn about a challenge Sherontelle faced in having her dreams fulfilled, a challenge that knocked the wind out of her sails. Somehow, some way, she kept going and turned that challenge from a seeming defeat to victory. Thank you, Sherontelle, for being on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me. This is so exciting.
So great. You're welcome. So, Sherontelle, please share an incident or a time in your life that knocked the wind out of your sails and the going got rough.
Well, a couple years ago, I was at home and I had an incident where my heart was giving out on me. And my young son, I believe he was 10 at the time, had to call 911. And by the time I got to the hospital, my heart rate was over 200 and my blood pressure was over 200 and my body was literally shutting down. So my heart did eventually stop. I was able to be brought back, and I was in intensive care for an amount of time, and then I had to come home to recover. By the time I came home, I was probably about 70 pounds and very, very weak, and basically had nothing or no one pretty much to lean on at that time. That situation is what literally knocked the wind out of me, because I'm a person who's used to being on the go, working hard, always busy. But when you find your body and yourself in that situation, you're like, what is going on? How can a person who plays tennis, does kickboxing, does boxing, does a very active, and find yourself lying on a hospital bed connected to a heart monitor, no celebrities around, no friends around, barely family, you really find yourself in a place like, how did I get here?
Oh, wow. I get that. During that time that you were dealing with the situation, did you blame other people, your circumstances, or yourself?
When I was younger, I kind of used to do the blame game, like it's your fault this happened, or it's your fault that, that didn't go through for me. But as I got older and with life experiences, I learned that I had to not necessarily blame, but I definitely had to look at myself and figure out where in my life that I'm not truly loving myself. Where is it in my life that I'm really not making the decisions that's, that benefits me in my life? Because I definitely have to take care of myself first before I can do anything or take care of anybody else. So when you're blaming others, it's just a reflection of you. So I can only just look at myself and say, Sherontelle, you really are doing something that is not right, and you need to get it together now. You need to look at this. So it was me. I look at me.
Well, you kind of answered my next question, which was, at what point did you stop caring about who or what to blame? So I'm going to go into number 4. My next question is, when did you see the light of freedom and possibility? And what steps did you take toward the light?
I noticed the light of freedom and possibility when I realized that there was nothing for me to do but when I get up and recover from this, to be better from this, to figure out how do I get out of this very dark place that I'm in, where I don't see anything but what I'm dealing with. I don't see the possibility of recovery. I don't see the possibility of is this actually going to work? Because one of the difficult things is to go after a vision when your current circumstances look nothing like what you see. So when you focus not on the possibility and the vision, and you're just focusing on whatever that problem is at that moment, sometimes that problem actually grows, because whatever you think about, that's what you can manifest in your life. So if I'm just thinking about this illness and my body losing all of this weight, I'm just going to continue to lose weight. I'm going to find myself with more medical problems and more health problems. So that's how I've seen the light, knowing that I'm either going to lie here and die, or I'm going to do what it is that I had started my journey anyway, and just continue to complete that, because we have to know that life journey sends us a lot of, construction and obstacles along the way. So you're either going to die in this situation, or you're going to live. And I just chose my life. So that's how I decided to see the light. You got to see the light before you can actually get to it. You got to think about it. Everything starts with the mind. So that's how.
Wow, I get it. So it's a lot. Thinking about our theme, transform disappointment. What are you present to when it comes to transforming disappointment in your personal life?
I think about the word, transform. Trans is you're changing into another dimension of life. So when I think about transforming disappointment, I first have to think about my feelings and what I'm feeling at that time, because we could be feeling different. We have several different emotions, and we can be dealing with one emotion at that moment, and I need to definitely look at it, embrace it, and know that it's just a feeling and it's time to move forward. That's it. Anytime that you're feeling an emotion of stress or things that just are not positive for the body, it's just letting you know, hey, I'm not loving myself in this moment. Let me not fight against whatever it is that's no longer for me. Let me let this go because there's something better. Like when we're constantly fighting against something that we don't have no control over, that we can't change, that's how you transform disappointment. It's only disappointment by the perspective that I have for whatever the situation is. It's our perspective. That's all it is, however we're looking at the situation. Because if it's a terrible situation in front of us and we're looking at it and we're saying, oh, my goodness, this is so bad, based upon what or who? Because that's how different people can go through the same situation, but they have different results or they go through it differently. It's based upon their perception. So my perception is that if it's a disappointing thing, I have to take a step back. I always have to take a step back and be like, hey, how am I looking at this situation? So, yeah.
I get it. And thank you for sharing. I can so relate to a lot of what you said when it comes to perception and the feelings. But I'm going to want to thank you for sharing so powerfully. And I'm going to check in with the team and see what is present with them, for them. And
well, that's really not what it says.
Excuse me.
Nothing, Vicki.
So we're asking the team to please share what you see about your life from Sherontelle sharing and the difference her sharing created for you. And I'm going to start with Mr. Ronnie.
Thank you. And I was just, I do apologize. I was just so anxious because, Sherontelle, whenever you have something, like physically life-threatening happening, that can just, if you got your mind and your health, you can pretty much handle anything. But either one of those is like definitely a challenge. But what came to mind for me, just looking at my own life, not what's present, but looking at my life and just matching it up. Well, I haven't had a medical thing to happen. But it did, as far as shaking up something. Now, here I am. I busted my tail for 6 or 7 months working on this telemarketing business with my partner. He comes in to the office with his 3 brothers to kick me out. Now, I'm sitting up here, I got, the equipment, this. And it's like he's got, him and his brothers like he a godfather or something to kick me out. And I'm like, wow. So I take what I can and, thank goodness, thank God, I'm able to actually get the one computer that has all the telemarketing software. And so I go home. And here it is. Now, all my money's been tied up. My roommate and I, we can't even make the rent now. So through something, somehow or another, we scraped up enough to get into a weekly pay motel, hotel place that had roaches and prostitutes and drug dealers. But the thing that they had, the blessing, they had unlimited phone service, unlimited calling. So I could still run my telemarketing business. And, you, like I said and I just remember every day I would go out and I'd be like, because I didn't know how we were going to, get another client, do another thing. But every day I'd go out and I'd just take a walk. And if I found a nickel on the ground, I know people thought I was a crazy man, because I'd be like, yes, the universe is opening up. Like you say, change your perspective. But, where's your mind at? And mine was, hey, I am open to receive. So, that's a part of my life that your sharing reminded me of. So thank you for that.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Mr. Ronnie. Empress Nakia.
Oh, wow. What just resonated with me with Sherontelle's sharing, and just even listening to Ronnie, but specifically with Sherontelle's sharing, is that, I have to, when I focus on the greater possibilities of what I look to experience in life and where I stand in this world and what type of legacy and just life that I want to leave behind, I take the actions and I take the steps necessary in order to be aligned with that, and it manifests itself, because that's where my focus is. That's where my mind is. That's where my attention is. That is where I seek to be. I'm already standing there. And then when I get off the alignment, when I get off beat, when I am no longer focusing on that because something happened, because whether it was an internal state or position, or whether there was an experience that I had, or because I'm not in a place that I'm comfortable being, or I'm not where I want to be, then that's when all of the doubt steps in. That's when all of the confusion, and God is not the author of confusion, so I know right then I'm not supposed to be in that space. But I get stuck. I get all these different emotions that does not allow me to recenter myself. Well, I don't allow myself, to recenter myself because of whatever those thoughts may be that are deriving, conjuring themselves up. But when I get back into the space and realize, because of whether it's the people that I choose to be the company of or have in my space, or whether it's because I done went to church and God was really trying to make sure that I got something out of the conversation, or whether I got really, really, really intentional with representing myself to who I am. Why are you letting yourself get stuck in this situation? Just weeks ago, I was there. Why am I allowing myself to be down on myself because of my singleness, or because, something didn't work out that I wanted to work out, or that, I took this new approach of communicating and being effective, and at the end of the day, it didn't turn out the way I thought it would, even though I was realigning myself and stepping into a different space of integrity and having integrity in the entire experience. But just because I want something and because I align myself with it doesn't mean that the outcome is going to be what I want it to be. And I had to be okay with that. But I allowed myself a moment to go through being sad and disappointed and broken behind it and going back and forth with the tug of war. But then I had to get with myself and say, and I gave myself a specific amount of time. And I said, okay, from this day to this day, I'm going to allow myself to be here. And I'm going to face it, and I'm going to be present with whatever that is. But from this moment forward, it's gone. I can no longer be in that space. I have to suck it up, like my brother used to tell me. And so I had to do that. And then things started to begin to be realigned once again. And so I could really get when you say, wherever you have your mind, and, yeah, I could blame people for a period of time, but I had to stop. And I know that wasn't your words verbatim, but I had to stop. And I had to really get clear with the fact that there was something I wasn't doing or something I may have been doing. You know, what is my part in it? And I had to get complete with that so I can move forward in life. So thank you for your sharing, and I appreciate your what you just gave to all of us, so we can get present to where we are in life. So thank you.
Thank you, Empress Nakia. Man, I am by everyone sharing, and by you sharing, Sherontelle, in particular, I am just present to so much. One of the first things, that came to mind, I know, I have a great big glimpse of how active you are. And then you shared even some things that I was not aware of, right? And I'm like, man, she's even more active than and I already know how active she, it's like I already see this go-getter, this active, like just high, intense, action-packed woman. And then to literally be on your back and have, like you say, you know so many people, but at that time, that didn't even matter. At that time, it wasn't even, none of it mattered, right?
Right.
And you could have stayed stuck there and having to realize that it's really live or die. No matter what, it's live or die. And whatever I'm thinking about, whatever I focus on, that's what's going to continue to grow. And I'm listening to you say that, and I'm thinking about where I'm at, like right now in my own life, where things have changed, and I'm like in a constant shift, right? But every day in my constant shift, I have to realign myself with something different. Mm-hmm. But in my realignment with something different, it's about embracing, still accepting my feelings, whatever the feeling is. Like when the kids say, whatever the feeling is, and being okay with that feeling and being present with it. And then, you know what, and moving forward. And then that, a transformation comes. It's all about being. It's all about being, and we're being that choice. But what a powerful, 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 and miraculous share. Thank you. So we will hear more from Sherontelle later in the show. Empress Nakia, please take us to break.
Indeed. Now, stay tuned for the corner. We are featuring music from Fredo CPU. Take us to break.
Welcome back. We give it all to you on Grow Your Mind and Money, and we do it all with love. Now it's time for the corner with the Empress of Faith, Nakia. So let's give her a smooch and a rub.
I'm sure that's not what that says.
No. Actually, so we're going to have Mr. Ronnie in the corner. That's what it did say. It's time for the corner with Empress of Faith, Nakia.
Which script are you looking at?
I'll take over.
Okay, welcome to the corner. We're featuring music from Fredo CPU out of Bari, Italy. Now, we asked the team to vote whether the track should get a smooch and a rose or if it needs more fertilizer. Oh, All right, Sherontelle, we'll find out. The first track is called Shock Bone. DJ, let's check it out.
We were sound asleep. We were in too deep. The hill was much too steep. We were locked to the past. We were running too fast. Now the bill is due at last. Lives are darkening. Life is disappearing. We're past the point of no return. That we can never learn. Water is burning. Mountains are crumbling. Weather is turning. Shock stone, shock bone. There's a storm at sea. Wasn't meant to be. Soon we will believe. I can feel the pain of the poisoned rain. It was all for no real gain. To an uncertain future, nickels and dimes, arrive at some sanity. Pray it's not too late. Water is burning. Mountains are crumbling. Weather is turning. Shock stone, shock bone. Clouds are darkening. Life is disappearing. Past the point of no return. You can never learn. Water is burning. Mountains are crumbling. Weather is turning. Shock stone, shock bone. Shock stone, shock bone. Shock stone, shock bone.
All right. That was Shock Bone. It's Shock Bone getting a smooch and a rose or some free fertilizer. Diva Nikki, how say ye?
You know, that was different for me, but yeah, that was different. Smooch. Some.
Okay, you're giving it a smooch, but no rose. Okay, all right. Sometimes it can roll like that. Miss Sherontelle. How say ye?
I will give it a smooch and a rose.
Oh, a smooch and a rose. Very interesting. Shockbone is working his way up. Empress Nakia. I'm pretty sure this didn't sound like something you'd have heard.
No. I had to laugh. And then I laughed, and she said, "It's interesting. It's different." I'm going to give that.
I like interesting.
Yeah, it was. Because I was with it, and you know how you do like the little Egyptian hand movement with your hands? I was
really.
And then I kind of drifted away. So I got to give it some smooches, honey, because at least it had my attention and it had my interest for a while. And I was like, is he saying Shockbone for real? Okay. And then I got kind of a little drift. So I'm giving it some smooches, honey. I can give you roses later.
All right. Okay, well, Proto CPU, so far you kind of, I think the guest was being a little generous. Her first time, she didn't want her representation to be, set up a certain way. Now, I'm going to go ahead and give it a smooch and a rose. One, I like how you could tell they did the work to produce it.
Yeah.
A couple of the lyrics, I kind of think that it weren't geared for, I'll just say, my group.
No.
Okay, they weren't geared for my, but in their lane, I think they probably did pretty good for their lane. So I'm gonna give it a smooch in a row. But let's see if they can bring us all together. Now, up next. Now, the last time I heard a record with this name on it, it took me back to the eyes of the brothers. Footsteps. So, panel, let's hear Footsteps. DJ Rowley.
Gray sky's gonna rain now. Where is there a warm shelter? I guess should get myself downtown, but I'll find nothing new. See the same old faces, go to the same places, do the same route. I want out. Here I am walking in a circle. I'm just walking in a circle. I'm just walking in a circle. The same old footsteps. I'm walking in my own old footsteps. Just walking in the same old footsteps. Make an escape, breathe some new air, different spaces. What of you? Paris, Rome, San Francisco, travel the world. Habits die hard, nothing happens here. Footsteps. I'm walking in the same old footsteps. Footsteps. I'm walking in my own old footsteps.
Well, that wasn't quite the Isley brothers, but let me check with Empress Nakia. Is footsteps getting a smooch of the rose or a bit of fertilizer?
Ronnie, I'm going to have to dump the truck. I almost said the damn.
You dumping the truck on footsteps?
Like,
now I didn't bias you by bringing up the Isley brothers, did I?
The song, I was like, you just did make it big. And in the beginning of the song, and I was like, okay, okay. But then it seemed like the beat switched, the community, the everything just kind of took a whole new flavor. I was like, what the hell is going on? So.
Well, all right. Sherontelle, rose or a bit of fertilizer?
This is such a tough position to be in with critiquing someone's craft, but I would definitely, yes, I am definitely going to be honest and say a bit of fertilizer. You know, music is supposed to take you through a time, and you're supposed to be able to travel, and I don't know where he was taking me. Like, I'm so lost. I was still at dock, and I thought I was on the ship going somewhere, but I never went anywhere.
Oh, no. Oh, my God. Well, it's looking a little bit tough for him right now. Let me check with Diva Nikki.
That's that. I'm going to go ahead and put my pedals together and get them and make a rose and give them that rose for that first track. This track gets no love. My head did bob a little bit, but I didn't know why I was bobbing. And then that bobbing me. I'm like, I don't know why my head is bobbing. This is not working for me. So.
Well, I'm going to give the track a pedal. And the reason I'm giving it a pedal is because it kind of put me in the mood for going to the gym and working out.
Really?
Well, that's to get away from listening to it.
Yes, bad.
Now, okay. Now, you like the music from Frodo CPU, and that's FRODO CPU. You can check them out at FrodoCPU.com and Old Grumpy Radio Network. Now, it is time to continue our interview with Sherontelle Dirskell, champion for humanity. Over to the Empress.
All right. Thank you, Ronnie B. Awesome. That was fun. Sherontelle, I hope you enjoyed that. So,
yeah.
Once again, thank you, Sherontelle, for staying with us for your interview with me, and I am totally excited because that first interview with you was just phenomenal. In this segment, we will learn more about Sherontelle as a motivational speaker, celebrity, publicist, and author. So let's get right into it, Sherontelle. Would you please share the aha moment? You knew in your heart of hearts that your heart, such a beautiful, delicate heart, that being a Renaissance woman was the right thing for you to do?
Oh, the biggest aha moment I had is when I went to go speak to a group of 8th graders. I knew at that moment that I was living in my purpose and I was doing what I was supposed to do as far as giving back to society. And the feeling that you have after speaking to a group of children is something that I can't compare it to anything else. To be able to contribute, to be able to plant seeds, because that's what it is when you're speaking to young people. It's planting a seed. It doesn't necessarily mean like what I'm saying is going to resonate with them at that time and at that moment, but somewhere in their life, they're going to remember that Sherontelle came to my school and she told me that I was enough, and she told me that I am successful. She told me that I can make it. She told me that even though my circumstances aren't so great because I'm in a neighborhood that doesn't contribute to growth, it doesn't mean that it's going to detour my destiny. So that's my aha moment, having that opportunity to plant that seed to children to let them know that they can make it, because at some point I'm going to get older. They're going to be, that's my future that I'm speaking to. Yeah. What bigger thing to know that that's the right thing that you're doing for you. And that's when I noticed.
Wow. Okay, so what circumstances, people, or challenges come into consideration as you do the work to hone your craft and build your business?
Circumstances, people, and new challenges that comes in consideration. That is all of life when you're choosing to do something that is out of the norm, when you're choosing your vision and your purpose and your goals. Those things, at the moment that you choose to do something different, to choose growth, to choose preparing for the next level of life, it's going to look sometimes or feel like the world is against you, and things are going to happen along the way. You may lose people along the way. Some deals may not go through. You have to pretty much, when you're into business or whatever it is that you choose in your life, that those are just things that's just going to come the way. And as I continue to do what I'm doing, my work, and as I continue to build my business and my brand, it's just a part of building. Mm. You know, we know that when I look at my grandmother, when she used to do her garden, like as she does her garden, the weeds come up, so she just clips them down. Or the animals come in the garden and they eat up certain vegetables and fruits, and she's like, I expected that. That's why I added an extra row. You just have to expect that that's just life. That's the life cycle. Problems, crisis. And then you feel like it's just a part of life. And so me knowing that doesn't get in the way of what I'm doing. It's just something that I have to take a look at once again, and it just all it's going to do is just make it better.
Powerful.
Yeah. That's all it's going to do.
You can eat that up. I already knew you was coming. That was cool. I like it. Okay, so what are your measures for success from a personal and business perspective?
Measure for success. Oh, my goodness. Okay. I focus on, there's a thing that you have when you own a business, and it's like the core of the business or corporation, and that's purpose, visions, and goals, right? And that's the same thing that we have in our personal life, with our relationships, with what we choose to do with our day. So when I look at the measure of success from a personal side, I kind of look at my financial status. Is it good for my lifestyle and what I'm choosing? I try to look at it as, am I satisfied, and am I loving the nurturing and loving the relationships that are around me? And also, am I contributing to myself? Am I making sure that I take care of myself emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually? Am I doing those things for me? So when I am aligned with my purpose, vision, and goals on a personal aspect, that's how I would look at it. Now, in the business aspect of things and measuring success, I'm a publicist, and I always tell people, my clients and people that ask me questions in regards to success, like, how do you measure success in PR? I'm like, it's very difficult to measure public relations. I mean, we have these analytics and stuff like that, but it just takes time. So when you're looking at business, you also look at business in the financial aspect, that we meet our goals for this quarter. We do all of these surveys, to figure out about customer satisfaction. So we also look at, not the same way as we look at it in a personal life when we're measuring the, responsibilities of personal relationships. It's the same thing in business, except we're looking at, am my customer satisfied? Is my customers happy? Also, am I contributing to society? Because even though you own a big corporation or a small business, a company, whatever it is, you still have to look at, am I giving back? You always want to give back, so that whatever you give back, you get that back in return, and it's just a constant, flow. So when you look at both sides, you're always measuring, I would think, because success is a worthy realization of an idea. That's what Earl Nightingale says. So when you look at an idea, am I doing what it is that I set out to do in my personal life and purpose, vision, and goals? And the same thing with business. And that's how I would measure it, because success is a continuous cycle as well. Life is like the seasons. So you have good ones and you have bad ones, but you're just constantly making sure that you're carrying out your purpose. You're constantly setting forth goals in regards to your vision. You're making out plans. So that's how I would measure.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And for my last question for this segment, I just want to know if you could please share a specific moment or event where your efforts bring a smile to your face even today.
A specific moment. I was on a TV show several times, but one in particular where I was able to share my story that I shared with you guys in the first part of the segment of the show, where my health incident, to be able to, if I could share my story with one or two people, I'm happy, because if you change one person's world, you change their world. So it's not about the numbers, but to have the opportunity to share my story in front of millions of people who also, they may have not shared the health aspect of it, but they also shared that fear and those emotions that, that I was feeling during that time. And it, to have the opportunity to change people's lives through your story, to have the courage, to have the fearlessness, to have the perseverance that I've had to have, going after my dreams, it's changing. My dream is changing people's lives. So that right there for me brings a smile to my face, even sometimes when I don't even feel like smiling.
Oh, oh. Yeah, wow, yeah, got it.
Yeah.
So thank you so very much for your sharing at this time, Sherontelle. Now, we're going to ask the team to please share what they see from your life, see about their lives, from your sharing, Sherontelle, and the difference that your sharing has created for them, okay? So,
okay.
Ronnie B., how about you start this off?
Okay, it is, one thing in just listening to this part, it's the integrity and forwarding, and and I just really want to speak to this. Your word is everything. Your word will get you past your feelings, because your feelings will lie. Yes, they will. Your feelings will be ground noise. But your word in the matter, that's it. That's the ball game there. And when, I love how when you looked at your measures for success, personal and business, I was looking at my measures. Now, because I knew the question was going to come up. What's the difference? What difference did I get from your sharing? Well, I'm going to say that the difference I got from your sharing, looking at my personal, measures for success in business and personal. And what I see is that neither one of them are going to be right if I'm not about being right. So I can have a big old, fancy car, wealth, all of that in business. But if I ain't living my life right, it really won't matter, and vice versa. Because wherever I go, I happen to be there. So I can't be a jerk in one place and then be smiley face in another and think it's not going to impact. You have to be consistent and keep, as you say, forwarding. Am I forwarding something? Am I making a difference? And the other thing that I just want to share is that Diva Nikki, Empress Nakia, the honor that it is to work with ladies who always make a difference. And listeners have told them that, like, for real. So thank you. And Sherontelle, you being in this space, just reinforces who they be in the world. So, wow, like I said, just awesome.
Thank you,
Empress. My name be Ronnie.
Thank you, Ronnie B. Thank you for sharing that. And Diva Nikki loves my ginger. Would you like to share?
Man, I'm kind of taken aback by our common spirit. Doesn't surprise me, but to hear it vocalized when it comes to understanding or accepting that our future, our youth really is our future, and the difference that we make with them is the difference that we make also with ourselves, and how important it is to be mindful that then one day we will not be able to run it and run things like we're running it now. But the words that you made, the words that you gave, where someone could say, Sherontelle told me that even though I'm not in an environment that encourages and pushes growth, I am enough, and this is not my destiny. And your decision to change your life, to make a change in your own direction, is the difference that changes, makes a change for somebody else.
Oh.
It's encouraging from my stand that I have for humanity. And sometimes it can be daunting. Sometimes it can, I felt feelings which are not facts. Feelings are not always equated to facts, but in my feelings, I have felt like it was daunting at times because it seems it can be overwhelming sometimes to see or to feel as if you are almost in this fight alone. If you're not fighting to be quote unquote pro-black, so that you only fight the black fight, or pro-woman where you only feminism where you're only fighting the woman fight. But the fight for humanity in any time is what was present for me.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing, Diva Nikki. This is all just so powerful. Sherontelle, I'm a single parent, and even though I have not had the life or death experience, I really understand my son and other children in the world, whether it's volunteering, whether it's when I created a program to help mentor youth and engage with them and expose them to things outside of their community and what they're familiar with and what's normal for them, so they can understand normalcy is outside of the scope of the television and outside of your backyard and your immediate community. There's things going on in the world that you can be a part of, that you are a part of, that you make a difference for, but you can't know that unless you're out there with them, unless you discover it, unless somebody exposes you to it. So planting seeds in those babies and those children in our future is something that only a champion for humanity can choose to pursue, because our seasoned, our wiser community, we have so much to get from them. Absolutely, and those are my hearts. And everything that is taken from them and absorbed from them and the millennials and everyone else, everyone has the ability to contribute. We have to feed it into those children so a difference can be made for the world. So thank you so much for that. And that really resonated, brought back to my remembrance the times that I've really been committed into feeding into children and my why of doing it. And in your personal and professional life of success, I was thinking how my health and well-being is so critical, because when I'm out of alignment in my health and well-being and I don't have my vision, purpose, and mission in line with my health and well-being in my personal life, yes, professional life goes astray. And even though it looks good on the outside and to the rest of the world, that struggle is real, and they don't understand the impact that it truly makes, not just on the business and the individual, myself. It's an impact on how I'm able to operate to make a difference for others and to fulfill my obligations, my responsibilities, and what I agreed and gave my word to do and say and commit to. So I just want to say thank you for allowing me to re-envision my whys and have a greater commitment to my whys and who I am being for myself, for my son, and for my partnership, for the community, and for the world, because it takes a whole and complete person in every aspect of the way to have a level of integrity to where when you contribute, everything else is in integrity, and the integrity is beyond a measure of outstandingness when it's all in place. So, Sherontelle, you know, at this point, we can talk forever, and I'm all with you. But it looks like we're going to have to go on over there to Nikki. I know take us a break, but don't be so quick, Nikki. Don't be rushing, but that's okay. I'm going to let you. Go ahead, Diva Nikki. Take us a break.
Up next is Sunny Sunshine Lounge and Voices from the Ethers with Mr. Ronnie. Please stay tuned.
Welcome back. We give it all to you on Grow Your Mind and Money, and we do it all with love. Shine. Left the keys to the lounge with Diva Nikki. Let's see what's going on in the lounge.
Welcome to Shiny's Sunshine Lounge, where we feature a mixture of goodies that will stimulate your mind and maybe have you tap your feet. Tonight, now we have an awesome poet. they, them, performing princess in distress.
As a child, I received my bedtime stories from Disney. And at night, I dreamed to be a part of a whole new world where Jasmine was singing. Me. From the age of 3, being told that I could be anything. Then growing up to realize that everything had a limit for people like me. Naive in my innocence, while being ignorant to the realities of society, but aware of the fiction and fairy tales, I declared myself a princess. Without knowing that was wrong, you see, I always wanted to be a princess. But the only parts of their stories I related to was the distress, because in my life, there was no pots of gold associated with the colors of the rainbow. So I'm going to need people to stop telling that lie. Like Mulan, I couldn't thrive in a world where I had to hide my heart. Every day I played a part. My reflection couldn't show who I was on the inside, because the outside world would disown me. Be a man, they sang these words to control me. You were born in the hands of your father to make you strong, they said. But at that age, I saw Barbie as the place my hands belonged. I liked pink. My family thinks, where did we go wrong? This boy's a fairy. We must beat him till it's gone. They raised their hands. And in that moment, my brown skin now looks like dirt. And they can't stand the trash nor come to terms. So I learned to hide. Like Hannah Montana, I hid my life, but now I'm fighting to take the climb. Call me Cinderella. I moved down the hierarchy. I am now poor, without a father, and too black to receive one in a magical form. Bippity boppity boop, all I want there is no fairy godparent to save me. Just fairly odd parents that won't let me be. Like Ariel, my parents wanted me to conform, but my outsides were in a desperate need to transform so I could swim away from the life I was assigned and walk into my true state of mind. You see, disguises don't save lives, they end them. You are not protecting someone by telling them to change who they are. Conceal, don't feel, don't let them know is the worst advice you could ever give to a child that is different. Like Anna, my heart had frozen over like polar ice caps. Like Elsa, I slid into a kingdom of isolation and transformed myself from a princess to a queen, because at this point it had seemed like I was the only person that could ever love me. So since society sees me as Dungeons and Dragons, I learned to breathe fire. And now I use words as my weapons. No longer do I need a Prince Charming to rescue me, because as you can see, I slayed the enemy.
Well, well, well. Panel is Princess in Distress by they/them getting some snap or some rotten tomatoes. Empress Nakia, what you got there? Snap or tomatoes?
Baby. First of all, while I'm snapping in the process, I heard this dude and I heard Princess, and I was like, huh? And then I kept hearing this male voice, and I heard Princess and dressing. I was like, what? So then I got it. I'm gonna give them, some snaps and toe tapping, baby, because that was bold, bodacious, and beautiful.
Yeah, it was.
Well, Sherontelle.
Yes.
What's that?
I'm definitely going to give it some snaps. I thought it was it was great. Like, his voice definitely does draw you into what he has to say. So snap.
All right. So far, so great. Mr. Ronnie? Now, don't you go skipping to Maluda.
Ronnie B.
Mr. Ronnie?
Ronnie B.
Okay, well, while we wait for Mr.
Oh, okay. I apologize there. But see, I was saying this, that, I'm a simple brother, and, that they, them is confusing. Now, I wish he, decide that you're going to be a they or a them. Don't be throwing they and them together. But I'm going to give them, well, I don't know. I'm going to give they, them a whole bunch of snaps. Snappity snap. Go forward.
Well, I got to say that was one way to take a stand for who they are. Them, they, them. And look at here. You get some snaps. You get snaps for taking your stand, and with such a bold, they typically are bold, but with such a bold and such a tremendous delivery and expression. Snap, 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 snap. Now, if you enjoyed the performance from they, them, you can check her, him. This is kind of this. You can check her, him out on YouTube and the Old Grumpy Radio Network. If you enjoy the performance from they/them, we didn't make it up. You can check her/him out on YouTube and the Old Grumpy Radio Network. Over to Empress Nakia for our Voices from the Ether.
I love it. All right. Oh, wow.
You know that we didn't make it up. We didn't make it up.
Patricia Evers, San Francisco, California. She says, I love Grow Your Mind and Money. It's fun, and you really must think. I was listening to the assignment and heard it wrong. Hold on. I heard myself wrong. I was listening to the assignment and heard it's not wrong if you don't want a breakthrough in your relationships or any other area of your life. That lifted weight, that lifted a weight off my shoulders. There is nothing wrong, and I can just be satisfied where I am. All right. After a few days, I started to wonder, am I satisfied where I am, or simply resisting what is possible? How do you tell the difference and not simply, as Mr. Ronnie says, mind screwing yourself? I love the Prosperous Divas webinars. When is your next session? Now, let me see what the team has to say to Patricia. Diva Nikki, what do you have to share with our amazing Prosperous family member, Patricia Evers, out of San Francisco, California?
Thank you for writing, Patricia. Now, Patricia, I can relate. I love that there is nothing wrong and there is no need for a breakthrough in relationships or any other area of our life. I love it. Because once you get comfortable with it, in a moment of silence or something will happen in some kind of conversation or something somewhere, and you're going to be brought back to what's possible. But if that's where you are right now, that is perfectly fine, because if it's not broke, don't fix it. Sherontelle, what are your thoughts?
So did I hear it correctly that she doesn't want to break through in her relationship or any other area in her life?
Okay, yes, ma'am, Sherontelle. Thank you, Diva Nikki. In the first part, she was sharing that, you know, we weren't making her wrong. Nobody was making her wrong for wanting to stay in her relationship or whatever area of her life that she, you know, wasn't having a breakthrough in. And then after a few days, she started to realize, you know, she started wondering, you know, is she really satisfied or is she simply resisting what's possible? You know, how can she tell the difference and not simply, you know, as Mr. Roddy B., he would say, you know, you mind screwing yourself, you know. Mm-hmm. So she's asking what is the difference and not really understanding the difference, not as Roddy B. says it, because everybody don't always get it, and everybody always get it, you know. So that's her question.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? She doesn't want any increase, no growth or anything in life. Just, is she okay with just being wherever she is in her life? That's what I was hearing. Yeah. Being satisfied with where she is. I mean, if that's what makes her happy and she's satisfied, I would always say, whatever makes your life right. Like, if that's what feels good to you, I can't judge like how someone would feel about themselves. If they're satisfied, then absolutely. But then if you want growth and you want change, then you also have to be open to that as well.
Okay, so is she resisting?
To me, it would feel. It looks as if she could be resisting something.
Okay. So
I just feel like we have to stay open to opportunities and possibilities, and if we're closed off and we're satisfied with a certain area or wherever we are, then how do we open up the door to the opportunity and possibility that's on the other side?
Got it. Thank you for sharing. Anything else for you, Sherontelle?
No, that's it.
Okay, awesome. Well, I guess I'll ask Ronnie B. since Nikki was, you know, being proactive. Ronnie B. You know, we love our Nikki.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Ginger, calm down, Ginger. Calm down.
Yes, Empress.
What would you like to share with Patricia, Ronnie B.?
Let's see. One thing that and Patricia, thank you for writing in, and thank you. I just want to reiterate something, and that's the part where Empress Nakia said, it's not wrong if you don't want a breakthrough. Mm-hmm. It's not wrong if you don't want a breakthrough. And if that's in the area of relationships, you don't have to have a breakthrough in relationships, and that does not mean that there's anything wrong. Mm-hmm. You might be in a fabulous romantic relationship. You got the right person, your dream boat. And so it's like, hey, right now, I'm savoring the beauty of what I'm in right now. Got it. Mm-hmm. And you may be at a place where it's like, right now things are good, and that doesn't mean you don't see better, you don't vision better. That there isn't like, wow, but it's like you're in the middle of doing the work and enjoying it. So it's like, well, right now, I'm where I want to be. And, there are too many people who are running their mouths to tell you need to go to you're not, you're not expanding yourself. See, if you're not expanding, you're shrinking. You got to always look for the next bright, shiny object to expand yourself. And now you got to know this, and you got to know that when you have, what happens is, there's an old saying, your knowledge is a mile wide, but it's an inch deep. Well, I got the bad news for you. It's a yard at best and a quarter-inch thick. So, hey, you're expanding, you're growing. Now, anytime that you bring up the question, am I resisting something? Guess what the answer always is? Yes. Yep. Yes, I am resisting something. Now, that's not a bad thing. There's resistance. Let's say you meet that really great person, and it's like, God, this is a really great person. And you give your heart. You say, I'm going to give my heart. I'm, this really great person. I'm going to give my heart. I'm just going to do it. And what'll happen is you go, I'm going to do that. And then what's going to happen immediately is, you know how that worked out last time. You know how it worked out last time. But I'm going to do this and forget last time. Well, should I really say no slide? Well, she might think I'm a stalker. But I said I'm going to give my heart. And the only thing that you have is the beauty, the ultimate blessing. You got the power to choose. And once you choose, then grace and divinity opens up a path. And once you've chosen, you can align yourself with your commitment. And when you do all of that, your reward is being able to be present enough to see where you are resisting the very things you desire. Okay, let's see. Before I get on a soapbox, somebody do something, because this is y'all show. Come here, lady. All right, Empress.
So, Patricia, there's not a whole lot of extra that can be said. I just want you to know that Ronnie talked about the good, beautiful side of being in a relationship and not wanting to move, right? But there's also experiences that individuals have that are not necessarily the ideal situation. And there can be individuals that feel like they don't want to break through in that area. And it may not necessarily be that they don't want it per se, it's that they don't know what's available to them. Or they don't know how to pursue the transformation in that area of their lives in order to achieve and accomplish a breakthrough, or know what a breakthrough really looks like. And even then, there's nothing wrong, because it's a different experience for each person. And once that person gets into a space and they're able to have those other people sharing with them the difference that it would make for themselves, and they identify and they realize what's missing in their lives. Sometimes it takes other people to speak that and you to see it, or you to just simply get there for yourself. You will decide, you will choose, not decide, but you will choose to have a breakthrough in those areas in your life or in that relationship in their lives. And it's still nothing wrong. It's just that's the season they're in, and when their season, it's time for them to move, they will. And with the wondering after a few days, it's just like Sherontelle was saying earlier about planting seeds in the hearts of children. Your listening and your engagement in the work, the assignment, even though you said that you chose not to take it on, you actually did. In your subconscious, in your spirit, you actually took it on, because it resonated with you and it came back up for you and you started to wonder, were you satisfied where you are, or are you simply resisting what's possible? And you begin to discover and see what was missing and feel there's something missing, and you started to discover it. And that's when you knew the difference. And you wasn't just, whether or not you were holding back and manipulating yourself or lying to yourself. That's what mind screwing is. You're playing yourself. Or whether you're really ready to take on life and take on those areas in your life that could be more profound and more enjoyable than what you are experiencing today. And it's still absolutely nothing wrong. And I thank you for sharing, and I thank you for the question, because it gives us all an opportunity to think and see what's possible and who we're being, because we all have areas that we have to work on and we need breakthroughs on in. In some areas we don't, period. So I'm going to have Mr. Ronnie B. take us to break. And again, thank you, and we look forward to your sharing. And write us back again and let us know what opened up for you out of this conversation and what's new for you, because we love our prosperity family. Mr. Ronnie, please take us to break.
Coming up in the next segment, the finale. Sherontelle. Sharon, final interview, and future wealth. Keep those ears glued to those speakers.
Welcome back. We give it all to you on Grow Your Mind and Money, and we do it all with what? Love. Over to Mr. Ronnie for the finale.
Oh, thank you, Diva Nikki. Thank you. Sherontelle, thank you for sharing it. You have been so much fun. It's so gracious. And I have a few more questions, so let's go. And the first one is, now what challenges do you see lurking in the waters that would try to slow you down or take you off the path from having your business succeed beyond expectations?
Well, we know in life that there are challenges that we can't foresee. And then there's those challenges that we have that we need to work on. That's why it's called personal development, because we're constantly working on ourselves. So, the possible challenges that I can see is one of the things that I have been working on for some time is my emotion with fear and how I deal with that. So I constantly, every day, it's changing the thinking that I have when it comes to fear. Like, am I able to do this, or I am going to do this? So it's like me dealing with that can definitely be something, going forward that can happen where I'm like, is it going to hinder me from growing? Because I recently turned down a very large multi-million-dollar deal because of fear. So sometimes I think like where I could be or where I could be business-wise if I had taken that. But then again, if I hadn't dealt with the emotion part, I can be sabotaging myself as well if I'm not ready for an opportunity that was presented. So those are a few challenges that I could possibly see going forward.
Thank you for sharing that. Really, really thank you for sharing that. And I just want to say one thing. I was having a conversation with Diva Nikki. And in that conversation, one of the things that opened up for me around the area of fear was that I didn't have to be perfect. I did not have to be perfect. And that was a big fear. Whatever I do, I got to be perfect about it, because I got to be ready for wherever the arrow's going to come from, the objection, because I'm always playing on the edge. So there's a demand that, oh, you're going to be on the edge? So that fear is always there. And I have done it where I, like you said, accepted that deal, and it all went haywire. I wasn't ready for it. So you know, and to listeners, get this. This is not about us bestowing our great knowledge and wisdom upon you.
Mm-hmm.
It truly, get it. It is not. We are bestowing our great knowledge and wisdom upon you. Now, because we're in the game. We're sharing. We're the Olympic swimmers. You know, the Olympic swimmers don't say, I got this. No, they get up there and they keep swimming. So thank you for sharing that. Now, hey, Sherontelle, please share 2 pitfalls, just 2. You might have more than 2, but please share 2 pitfalls you have seen people fall into when it comes to being consistent in their actions for having their dreams and desires manifest.
2 pitfalls that they fall into. One of the things that I think is very important is our focus. Like, focus is just way too important to be compromised. And I see that sometimes people, they're really not focused. Like, they'll say their ideas and what they want as far as their dreams and what they want to see manifest in their life, but their focus isn't there, and you don't see the commitment. Because when you're committed to something, you're going to be consistent with it. So I think those 2 things are very important, and really to believe. Like, I don't think it's very easy to dream something, but it's only that until we started put forth action towards it. And a lot of times, sometimes what people do is they will start something for 6 months to a year, and if they don't see the results as quick as they think that, you know, like, I've been doing this all this time, every day, every other day, and I haven't stopped, and I still don't see anything, they give up too soon. So those are, I think I probably said 3, but those are the things that I see when it comes to that. It's very difficult sometimes for us as an adult going after your dreams, because now we have that thing called responsibility. And you're either a mother, a father, you know, wife, a husband. Those things, that's what really gets people not going after their dreams, because they're clouded by their responsibilities.
Yeah. You know, it's amazing. People have collapsed responsibility with burden, shame, and guilt. And note I did. I meant collapse.
Yeah.
You know, they've collapsed that. And I love this context for responsibility. Responsibility begins with the willingness to be cause in the matter of one's own life.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you're operating from a context of responsibility, where it begins with the willingness. Because, see, often we ain't willing. We going kicking and screaming, baby. You say, what? Okay, right. Yeah. What do you mean? What do you mean? Hold me to what I say? You know. And, I have a conversation with Eva Nikki, and I'm like sitting up there. You know, what do you mean? I need to honor what I just said. But did you have some coffee this morning, woman? So it can go that way. Oh, God. Now, Sherontelle, would you please share with us one practice, you can share more than one, that you use daily to keep yourself in action? And the key word I think you said, Focus on the result.
Yeah, you cannot compromise that. That's just way too important. Like, don't compromise your focus. That's just really way too important. So one of the things that I do on a daily basis is I keep a gratitude journal. You know, going through a life and death experience really put things more in perspective for me, and realizing the things that are really important. Like in my gratitude journal, I have things like I'm thankful for my eyesight, like how beautiful it is to be able to go on the beach and see the water hitting the sand. There's someone who is literally walking in darkness. I am forever grateful for that. When you put your life into gratitude, then it makes so much of the other things so much easier. I always also start with meditation. I have to clear my mind. I have to even, you know, when you're sleeping, sometimes you may toss and turn, or sometimes you may have some amazing dreams. But when you wake up, you kind of just want to, like, just be with you, one, and God, if that's what you may call your higher being and your higher power. So gratitude, meditation, and that's it for me to start. And I heard this one lady say, it was so funny. She said, I make my bed. That's how I start my day. I make my bed. So, like, I love that. Like, so, yeah.
Wow,
those are the things that I do. Oh, and that, you know what else is a good thing to do? Making sure that whatever you have as far as your goal for the day, not a long list, but maybe 2 or 3 things that I know that I can get done, because I used to get overwhelmed because I used to make these very long lists of things to do, but I only marked off one thing because I was so busy thinking about all the things that was on the list that I got nothing really done. So now I'm realizing, like, it's very important. I think that we can, so at the end of the day, we can say, we can feel really good, because it does make you feel good when you mark something off the list, like, I got that done today. So I think that's important too.
Oh yeah. And just to share a practice that we have, now Diva Nikki and Empress Nakia are also executives for the Old Grumpy Radio Network. And before we get into our, let's say, our business world, we create the day. We literally create who we're going to be as executives for the corporation that day, for the enterprise that day. And we align on that. And then we create who we're being for each other and align on that. And it just creates a powerful context for having things get done. And, you know, the space that we're generating. So that's and then in the evening, as you said, like, you're able to look and debrief. And people should do that. Look, debrief, because oftentimes you don't acknowledge what you got done. And then it feels like you didn't do anything. Now, Sherontelle,
yes.
Renaissance woman. I love that.
I love that. Like, I'm like, wow, that's a big word.
I love that. When I was reading it, I was going, this is a Renaissance woman. I love it. Now, what do you have on your plate? How can our listeners learn more about your services and projects? Let them know.
Well, recently I am on my mini tour where I am going to different states and soon out of the country to do these workshops called Living Beyond Fear. It's like unlock your fears and release your fullest potential. So I have been doing that. I am also working on a conference titled Pain Behind the Smile, which will be out for next year, 2020. And I have an ebook that's coming out in November, Fear or Not to Fear, which will be on digital outlets. And then in February of 2020, I have a book that's coming out titled Pain Behind the Smile. So, yeah.
Is this a place, everybody, where people can go and keep updated?
Yes, I am Sherontelle Dirskell. So my website is SherontelleDirskell.com. Everything is Sherontelle D, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. I just opened up that channel. So I'm working on some things.
Yeah, and soon to be able to just find her under Renaissance Woman.
Thank you.
All right. Keen, anything you'd like to share or acknowledge from the interviews? Empress of Faith in the Kid.
Absolutely. Sherontelle, thank you. I acknowledge you for being an amazing human being that was unstoppable and continued to be unstoppable in the face of what a lot of us like to say in no agreement. And just being an example for so many people to look up to, because we have enough role models out there that isn't teaching us anything, isn't taking us anywhere, and isn't making a profound difference in our lives. But you are actually feeding into people and living out your story and living out your dream. And it takes a big person to go through challenges in life, whether it's life or death or otherwise, but to get up and to get on a path to fulfill your purpose in life and stay the course. And you had, so many great people to feed into you, your grandmother, business people, friends, family, whomever those individuals were and are. You have a team of people that are supporting you, your children, and I acknowledge you for taking a stand and being open to the possibility and the opportunities that are available to you, and being willing to listen, being willing to be coachable, being willing to take the information and those nuggets that are being fed into you, and those that you can use at that moment, you use them. The other ones, you put them to the side, but you can always pick them right back up because you're not leaving them anywhere. And when it's time for you to utilize those nuggets, those things, then they're available to you, and it carries you through the day. Thank you for your possibility, you writing in your journal. And Ronnie mentioned what we create as an enterprise every morning. And I had shared with Ronnie and Nikki that I have my own possibility book that I started, journal, that I started writing in about a month or two ago after coming back from a course. And the front of the book says dream, create, and inspire. And even if I miss a day of writing, I'm already in prayer when I wake up in the morning. And after I write in my possibility, I speak it out loud. So I'm putting it in existence and writing my declarations, my prayers, my thoughts, and my commitments and my releasing. But then I speak it out loud to manifest it into reality, and it's real and it's present for me. And I get present with it and carry myself through the day standing on that, in addition to the enterprise and what Ronnie and Nikki and I are standing for collectively for the enterprise and for one another. So thank you for all your sharing. Thank you for your contribution to our listeners. And we want to definitely stay in contact with you and, come back and see us. And prosperity, wealth, and health to you in all of your endeavors. And thank you again for allowing me to be present to things that I forgot or put down but didn't leave behind, but was able to pick back up in my listening to your sharing today. Thank you.
Thank you, Empress. Awesome. Diva Nikki, would you like to share acknowledge from the interview?
Absolutely. Your authenticity about fear and possibly even turning down a multi-million-dollar deal because of the fear of possibility is huge. Because you've accomplished so much, and you're bold, you're fierce, and in your boldness and in your fierceness, you're still human, and you're still humble, but you're still human. And a lot of times it's so easy to look at what we know of someone from the outside looking in, what they've accomplished, who they're around and what they're doing, and who they get to see and things like that, to where you can misperceive that they didn't experience the journey of fear, that obstacle, or it was easy for them to get over that because they had something else about them, some other kind of confidence or something else about they just had that it thing. And your admittance to that, your authenticity with that is what can encourage somebody else to know, even me, even you, yes, even me. So I appreciate that. And the focus, what you said about focus, it's so easy to be distracted and so easy to be taken away. But without focus, you will never get the results. It's not later, it's never. Without focus, you will never get, shall we say, the maximized results of your maximized efforts, because you didn't put forth your maximized efforts. So I want to thank you for that as well. And being grateful, meditating and connecting to God, the Most High, like you said, however someone relates to their high being or acknowledge, is something that I definitely surrender to and resolve to myself. And gratitude is, oh my goodness, gratitude. Gratitude definitely helps keep you grounded. And gratitude helps keep you from complaining as well. So it's been awesome. Thank you, you prosperous diva, Sherontelle, you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. And, Sherontelle, just a couple of things, because the context is decisive. Sharing is the enemy of looking good. It is the enemy of looking good. Because when you authentically share, you automatically are going against the grain of resignation and defeat. Sharing is the fuel of possibility.
Wow.
So thank you for giving us fuel to our possibilities. And we want you to stick around for the rest of the show. And, of course, thank you for your authentic sharing and being on Grow Your Mind and Money and a champion for humanity. It has been wonderful.
Thank you so much for having me.
Over to Empress Nakia for Future Wealth.
Thank you, Ronnie B. So, okay, we experience the occurring world and future from conversations we choose to generate for having the future and occurring world we desire, experienced, expressed, and producing results in our lives. Now, y'all know what I'm about to say. You have to have your pen and paper in hand, because when Empress is coming through for Future Wealth, it's time to get to work. Get your possibility books ready and let's go. We have a little exercise intended to empower you in clearing the space so you can be present to your occurring world and future. Now create the following categories: relationships, money, well-being. Relationship, money, well-being are the three categories. Now, under each category, answer this question: where or with whom do I lack freedom, or the future sucks? Next, answer these questions: how long have I lacked freedom, or the future sucks in this area, or with this person or group of people? Ask yourself, am I willing to have a breakthrough in this area or with this person or group of people? I would like for you to be honest. It is not good or bad if you are not willing to have a breakthrough. It is simply what's so. If you are willing to have a breakthrough in this area or with this person or group of people, what conversation are you willing to have that will allow you to be vulnerable so others can see your strength? The access to power is communication. Your ability to be vulnerable is the key to your breakthrough. Again, the access to power is communication. Your ability to be vulnerable is the key to your breakthrough. Keep working on this exercise during the week. If you have any questions or need any coaching or willing to share, let us know about your breakthrough, please email us, divas@prosperousdivas.com.
And the Empress Nakia, I get the Nicole's confused. I just wanted to add something in around where we talk about what conversation are you willing to give up.
Yeah, go ahead, Ronnie B.
Yeah, so I just want to just share something here. Now, in one of my conversations with Diva Nikki, that's right, mentioned her name, this is what I created. The possibility I'm inventing for myself in my life is the possibility of being a diamond and owning my attractiveness. So that's what I created. Now, but there's another part. What I give up for that possibility to be real is conversations that discount my greatness.
Yeah.
So just to kind of give folks a little guide, what conversations are taken away from either who you desire to be or who you're being. Okay, back to you, Empress.
That's good. Thank you, Ronnie B. And I'm sure our listeners can appreciate your willingness to be transparent, vulnerable, and share your possibility and how it was manifested. So, again, keep working on the exercise during the week. Ronnie B. just gave you an amazing, true, real experience of an example of how it works and how it can look, okay? If you have any questions or need any coaching, definitely, again, email us at divas@prosperousdivas.com. And always, without a doubt, a world of prosperity, a world of peace first, a world of peace and prosperity, one listener at a time. Until next time, grow your mind and money. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Peace, love, and blessings. Till next time, we're out.